When the soul is neglected, life becomes a succession of tasks, obligations, and performances. The individual adapts to the external world, but at the cost of a brutal internal impoverishment. Carl Jung. You wake up and the world feels gray, even when the sun is shining. You scroll through your phone, but nothing catches your interest. The shows you once binged now feel like background noise. Food tastes bland, music is just sound, and laughter feels forced. It's as if life has lost its flavor, like someone turned down the color on your days. You remember when things were different, how games, movies, or even a walk outside used to spark something inside you. Now, you try to care, but the energy just isn't there. You're not lazy, you're not broken. It's as if the fun has simply vanished. And you wonder, am I the only one who feels this way? But you're not. Surveys show that up to 40% of young adults report feeling lonely or disconnected, even in crowded cities or busy lives. This isn't rare. It's become a silent epidemic, especially among Gen Z and millennials. Researchers call it anhedonia, the loss of interest or pleasure in things you used to enjoy. It's not just sadness, it's a numbness that creeps in quietly, turning excitement into indifference. You might have a good job, friends, maybe even a partner, but inside, there's a hollow echo. You keep asking, what's wrong with me? You try to push through, hoping the feeling will pass, but days blur together, and nothing seems to change. Maybe you've tried new hobbies, new places, new people, but the emptiness lingers. You're not alone in this. On forums and social media, thousands share the same story. I used to love video games, now I can't even start one. I have friends, but I feel isolated. Work, home, weekends, it all feels the same. It's not just a phase. It's not just burnout. For some, it's a symptom of depression or chronic stress. For others, it's a sign of deeper disconnection from meaning and self. Carl Jung saw this in his patients, people who seemed successful on the outside, but felt empty within. He called it a crisis of soul, not just mind. Jung believed this numbness isn't a failure, it's a message, a signal from within that something vital is missing. It's not about weakness. It's not about lacking willpower. It's about losing touch with your own desires, your own sense of meaning. When you ignore what your soul needs, life becomes a loop of monotony. You adapt to what's expected, but at the cost of your inner spark. Jung wrote that when the world feels empty, it's a sign you've outgrown the old ways of living. It's not the end of joy. It's the beginning of a new search. A call to look deeper, beyond routines and distractions, to ask, what truly matters to me now? You might feel alone, but millions are quietly wrestling with the same emptiness. And it's not your fault. Modern life rewards productivity, not presence. We're taught to chase achievements, not meaning. But when the fun fades, it's not a verdict. It's an invitation. An invitation to rediscover what makes you feel alive. To listen to the quiet voice inside that's been drowned out by noise. Jung believed that facing this emptiness is the first step toward real transformation. So if you feel nothing is fun anymore, know this: you're not broken. You're being called to something deeper. And this numbness, as painful as it is, might just be the beginning of a more honest, meaningful life. Let's explore how this happens, where it comes from, and, most importantly, what you can do about it. When you look back, you might notice this feeling didn't start overnight. For many, it traces back to childhood, where joy was natural, but also fragile. Maybe you grew up in a home where praise was rare, or love felt conditional. Studies show that emotional neglect in childhood is strongly linked to losing interest in life's pleasures later on. If you didn't feel seen or celebrated as a kid, your brain learned to expect less joy, even from things that should feel good. You might have picked up the belief that fun is something you have to earn, not something you deserve. Or maybe you learned to hide your true feelings, to keep the peace or meet expectations. This early conditioning shapes how you experience happiness as an adult. Researchers call this anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure, and it's often rooted in childhood wounds. It's not just trauma. Even subtle emotional neglect can plant the seeds for numbness later in life. As you grew, society layered on more expectations. You were told to achieve, to stand out, to always be productive. Grades, trophies, and gold stars became the new currency of worth. The world started measuring you by your output, not your inner spark. This is what some call the achievement society, where your value is tied to what you do, not who you are. Surveys show that many young people feel overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed. It's no wonder burnout is everywhere, even among those who seem to have it all. You might have noticed how every moment becomes a task, a bullet point on a never-ending to-do list. Even rest is something to optimize, to make yourself more efficient. In this culture, fun becomes a luxury, not a right. You start to believe you must earn your joy, and if you're not productive, you don't deserve it. But here's the trap. The more you chase approval and achievement, the further you drift from your own sense of meaning. External validation, likes, praise, promotions, can feel good for a moment. But it never lasts. You find yourself needing more and more, like a thirsty plant in dry soil. Soon, you're living for the next compliment, the next well done, the next sign that you matter to someone else. But with every hit of validation, your own inner voice gets quieter. You start to forget what actually brings you joy because you're so busy chasing what others say should make you happy. Research shows that the pressure to always be happy, especially in societies that prize positivity, can actually make people feel worse, not better. You see others smiling on social media and wonder why you can't feel the same. But behind the scenes, many are struggling with the same emptiness. Meaning starts to fade, slowly, almost invisibly. A study found that people who feel their lives lack purpose are more likely to feel numb, anxious, and even physically unwell. When you lose touch with what matters to you, even small joys can disappear. You might find yourself asking, "What's the point?" or feeling like you're just going through the motions day after day. Jung believed this fading of meaning is not a personal failure, it's a signal from the unconscious. He taught that when life feels empty, it's often because we're living by someone else's rules, not our own. The unconscious starts to send messages through dreams, restlessness, or even numbness, calling you to change direction. Jung called this the beginning of individuation, the lifelong journey to become your true self. It's the psyche's way of saying, there's more to you than this. Listen. So if you feel the slow fading of fun and meaning, know this. It's not a sign you're broken. It's a sign your deeper self is asking for something real, something true. The question is, are you willing to listen? You start searching for answers outside yourself. Maybe a new job will fix it. A fresh relationship, a new city, a hobby you haven't tried yet. You scroll, you swipe, you buy things you hope will bring a spark. But nothing sticks. The emptiness lingers, no matter what you change on the outside. This is the trap of disconnection, chasing solutions in the world when the root is inside you. You might find temporary relief, a burst of excitement, a distraction, but soon the numbness returns, heavier than before. Why does nothing external work when you feel this way? Because the problem isn't out there, it's a loss of connection to your own sense of meaning and joy. You can swap jobs, partners, or routines, but if your inner world is starved, nothing outside will truly satisfy you. Carl Jung called this the dark night of the soul. It's a time when old ways of living stop working, and you're forced to face what's missing within. This isn't just sadness, it's a deep, existential crisis. You might feel lost, as if your identity is dissolving. Jung saw this as a necessary part of growth. The ego must surrender so the true self can emerge. But in the middle of it, the world feels hollow. You might notice the classic signs. You stop enjoying things you once loved. You withdraw from friends and family. You feel numb, unable to cry or laugh. Even food, music, or touch loses its appeal. This is called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. It's not just a symptom of depression, it's a signal that your brain's reward system is out of balance. Dopamine, the chemical that motivates you to seek rewards, isn't firing like it used to. Your brain's pleasure circuits, the mesolimbic pathway, are disrupted, often by chronic stress or emotional overload. The things that once brought joy now feel neutral or even draining. Researchers have found that people with anhedonia show less emotional response, even when exposed to things that should make them happy. Instead, their brains stay focused on the external world, but the emotional color is dulled. You might feel like you're living on autopilot, going through the motions just to get by. Relationships suffer too. It's harder to connect, to care, to feel close to anyone. Jung taught that this night is not a punishment, but an invitation. A call to stop running and start listening to what your soul truly needs. It's a painful, confusing place to be, but it's also the beginning of real transformation. If you're here now, know that you're not alone, and that this darkness is not the end. It's the threshold of a new way of being if you're willing to face what's inside. When you finally stop running, the stillness can feel almost unbearable. You sit in the quiet, hoping for relief, but instead, old discomfort rises to the surface. Thoughts you've pushed away for years start to whisper, regrets, fears, memories you'd rather forget. This is what happens when we stop distracting ourselves. The truth of our inner world comes into focus. Carl Jung called this meeting the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves we deny or ignore. The shadow isn't just darkness or bad traits. It's everything about us we've pushed out of sight, including pain, longing, and even lost creativity. When you stop and listen, you might meet your inner child, the vulnerable, authentic self that carries the wounds and joys of your earliest years. Maybe you remember times you felt unseen, unheard, or unloved. Maybe you realize how often you've silenced your own needs just to keep the peace or fit in. Ignoring your needs can feel like self-protection, but over time, it turns into self-betrayal. You say yes when you mean no. You stay silent when you want to speak. You push down your feelings, telling yourself they don't matter. But every time you do this, you drift further from yourself. The cost of denying your true feelings is high: exhaustion, emptiness, even burnout. It's like neglecting a child inside you, leaving them alone in the dark, hoping they'll stop asking for love. Self-betrayal isn't a flaw. It's a survival strategy you learned when your needs weren't safe to express. But what once kept you safe, now, keeps you stuck. You might notice patterns: staying in draining relationships, ignoring your health, numbing with distractions. This cycle repeats until you finally see it for what it is, a call for compassion, not blame. Jung taught that the shadow will keep surfacing until we acknowledge it, not as an enemy, but as a part of ourselves longing to be seen and understood. Integration is the process of making peace with your shadow, of bringing what's hidden into the light. It's not about becoming perfect or positive all the time. It's about accepting every part of yourself, even the messy, uncomfortable bits. When you begin this journey, you may feel stuck, even lost. Jung called it a dead balance, a standstill that tests your courage and patience. But with each honest look inward, you reclaim a little more of your wholeness. Individuation, as Jung described, is the lifelong journey to integrate your shadow, your inner child, and every part of your psyche into a unified, authentic self. This is the path to real healing. It's not easy, and it's not quick. But every step towards self-acceptance brings more color, more meaning, and more freedom into your life. So when the discomfort rises in stillness, know it's not a sign of failure. It's the first step toward becoming whole. You are not just the parts of you that others like or praise. You are every memory, every feeling, every hope you've ever carried. And when you choose to see and honor all of it, you begin the real work of transformation. This is where the path to wholeness truly begins. You notice a shift, a small crack in the numbness. It isn't a lightning bolt, but a gentle moment of clarity. Maybe it's a quiet morning when you realize you're tired of feeling empty, or a conversation that makes you see your life from a new angle. This is the turning point, the moment you glimpse the truth of your situation. Like in recovery, clarity often comes after you've hit emotional rock bottom, a sudden awareness that something needs to change. You see, this awakening isn't always dramatic. It can be as simple as admitting, "I want to feel alive again." That honesty is your first act of courage. You start to question the old beliefs that kept you stuck. Maybe you notice the voice in your head that says, "You're not enough," or the habit of justifying your pain, telling yourself you deserve to feel this way. But now, you realize you don't have to keep living on autopilot. You begin to affirm your own worth, even if it feels awkward at first. Affirmations are more than just words, they're seeds for a new way of being. Try saying, "I am enough. I am worthy of joy," even if it feels distant. You might not believe it yet, but repetition rewires your mind. Research shows that positive affirmations can boost self-esteem, reduce stress, and help you make healthier choices. So stop justifying your numbness. You don't have to explain it away or blame yourself. Recognize it as a signal, not a sentence. Start affirming your worth. Write down or repeat daily, "I am valuable. My feelings matter. I am allowed to heal." Let these words become a gentle background to your days. Choose your peace. This means making small decisions that honor your well-being. It could be taking a mindful walk, saying no to what drains you, or simply breathing deeply for a minute. Behavioral activation therapy shows that even when you don't feel like doing enjoyable things, doing them anyway can slowly bring back pleasure. There's often an awkward period where you don't feel the joy yet, but keep going. Try new activities, foods, or routines. Sometimes a single sensory experience, like a favorite meal or song, can break through the gray. Don't chase only big moments of joy. Seek a mix of small pleasures, a good meal, a brief conversation, a moment of relaxation. Reconnect with meaning by living with your senses. Savor the taste of your coffee, the sound of birds, the warmth of sunlight. Mindfulness isn't about perfection. It's about noticing what's here right now. As you practice presence, you'll start to see color returning to your days. A laugh feels genuine. A sunset moves you, even for a second. You find yourself grateful for a small kindness or a quiet moment. These micro moments of joy are proof you're coming back to life. It's a slow process, but every step counts. You are not the numbness. You are the one moving through it. With each act of self-affirmation, each mindful breath, you reclaim a piece of yourself. And as you do, the world begins to feel a little more alive, a little more yours. You've come a long way, even if it doesn't always feel like it. We began with the numbness, the sense that nothing is fun anymore, that life has lost its spark. You learned that you're not alone, that millions quietly carry this weight. Together, we traced the roots back to childhood, to the pressure to perform, to the slow fading of meaning. You saw how chasing validation and perfection only deepens the emptiness. You faced the trap of disconnection, the search for answers outside, and the reality that true healing must begin within. You met your shadow, your inner child, and the parts of yourself you once ignored. You learned that self-betrayal is not your fault, but a pattern you can change. You discovered that integration, accepting every part of yourself, is the path to wholeness. Then, the awakening, the small moments of clarity, the decision to stop justifying your pain. You learned to start affirming your worth, to choose peace, to welcome small joys back into your life. You practiced mindful presence, letting the colors of life return, one moment at a time. And now, you stand at a new threshold, with understanding, with hope, with a sense of possibility. So here's your commitment, simple and true. I choose my peace over fear. Write it down. Say it out loud. Let it be your anchor when the old numbness tries to return. Remember, healing is not a straight line. Some days will be brighter than others, but every step you take toward yourself is a victory. If this journey resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear these words. Subscribe, follow, or leave a comment. Your story could help someone else feel less alone. We're building a community of people who are choosing presence over perfection, meaning over monotony, peace over fear. You are not broken. You are becoming. Transformation is possible, even when it feels slow. You have the courage to face your shadow and the strength to reclaim your joy. Keep going, one small step at a time. The world needs your light, your voice, your unique story. Thank you for walking this path with me. Remember, you are worthy of joy, connection, and a life that feels alive. Let's keep choosing peace together.